In this video, I'll show you 3 AI-based indicators on TradingView. First, I'll explain what they're based on, and then I'll show you how they work in practice. And also, by the end of the video, I'll demonstrate an indicator used by major hedge funds and banks, which, in my own experience, has never been wrong. Since 2014, not a single mistake, an absolutely unique indicator. So, my name is Alex. For a long time, I worked at various crypto exchanges and CFD platforms. I had quite a long and extensive career. At the moment, we're developing trading indicators. Take a look. The green zone. Touch, touch, touch. Every time, it goes up. It's rock solid and never fails. Always delivers 100 out of 100 times. Notice how the green background lights up on the oscillator. Here, and here on the weekly chart. This always means huge gains in the crypto market, 500 to 700%. That's exactly what we're working on right now. If you want to get this indicator, follow the link in the description. Let's start with the first indicator. Let's just check in the search. We'll open TradingView and right in the search bar, we'll type in artificial intelligence. And what will it show us? Here's an interesting first indicator. It's called the Trend Navigator based on artificial intelligence. Let's add it to the chart. We'll enlarge the chart proportionally and see what the indicator is all about. Basically, when two moving averages are broken through, it's an uptrend. If they're broken upwards, of course. If they're broken upwards, and when they're broken downwards, it's a downtrend. On the retest, you need to enter either short or long positions. A retest of the downward movement. Let's take a look together. Here, we've got two moving average periods broken through. And here we have the retest. You enter a short, and a large, strong downward move follows, about 50%. Same thing, a retest, then another downward move, another retest, and again a minimal downward move. Again, all of this is a retest and a downward move. And all of this, friends, is shown using the example of Bitcoin Cash, with corrections of 40 to 45%. The same thing happens when it breaks upward, a retest, and then we shoot higher. It breaks upward, a retest, and then we take off higher. So, it would seem, everything works perfectly. Just wait for the actual trend movement. Then, on the pullback, you either go long or short. If the trend is upward, then, naturally, you get a downward pullback. If the trend is downward, then, naturally, you get an upward pullback. You enter the position further along the trend, but there's one catch. In a sideways market, this indicator doesn't work. Take a look here. This is a sideways movement, and on the chart, we can see it clearly and specifically with Bitcoin Cash. It broke upward, but didn't give an entry point. It broke upward, but again, didn't give an entry point. It broke downward, and gave only a minimal entry point. But you would have lost a huge amount of money on stop losses in this particular case. So, in this situation specifically, in a sideways market, this indicator just doesn't work. At the same time, during trending movements, it works quite well. It's more interesting to use it as a fully functional trading system, a trading model. Let's move on to the next search for AI-based indicators. So, what do we see here? Alright, let's take a look. Scrolling. Here, take a look at this. Moving averages based on artificial intelligence, which you can open on the chart. Basically, the principle is exactly the same, but as we can see, there's more spread, and accordingly, more false signals. The entry principle is exactly the same as before. On a pullback of the trend movement, we entered the trend movements at the most favorable prices during the pullback. And it doesn't matter if it's a long or a short. As we said, if it's a short trade, the pullback is upward, and if it's a long trade, then the pullback is downward. It's all as simple as can be. We can see here that, yes, the upward movement worked out. After the retest, we shot higher and took some percentage, about 22%, a downward movement, retest, and then we dropped lower. In this case, the situation worked out much better. Specifically, this one by 33%. However, here, the upward movement and the corrective move, the pullback, didn't give an entry point. A downward movement, corrective move, then an upward move, and after that, it dropped further down, taking over 100. So, we can see that in trending movements, again, everything works, but during some choppy action on the chart in a downtrend, not so much. Specifically, this period is on the daily chart, not much works, and overall, it's extremely hard to find anything that works in a sideways market, because you don't need to be a genius to trade with the trend. But when it comes to finding a reversal point, that's a whole different story. It's much harder. That's the hardest part. It's the main challenge that, in fact, the whole world is trying to solve and still can't crack. But we solved this problem for you. Just take a look at the third indicator. Based on my experience, the indicator has never been wrong. There hasn't been a single false signal, not even once, since 2014. So, let's take a look and see that it always works reliably and without fail. You can get it through the link in the description. So, let's move on to the demonstration. A trending move is always captured without a pullback, and at the same time, if there's a counter-trend move, for example, let's look at this together. Here we had an upward movement in Bitcoin. Then there was a huge downward move in cash, and the most precise bottom formed during this period. The counter-trend move touched our green line. Touching the green line is a direct buy signal, and after that, we observe the following. There's an instant reaction after the green line. In the first case, 18%. In the second, 62%, and in the third, a full 136%, all in just 100 days. Something incredible and unique. And once again, we caught the very bottom here, right at this point, 49%, and after that, a solid 156% growth, always steady and without any pullbacks. And even during a downward move, the most precise bottom is identified absolutely correctly. Right here, and here, each time, 70%. So, what we see is the following picture. You can work with the trend using publicly available indicators, the ones that are freely accessible to everyone. But really, if everyone had access to indicators that work freely in the public domain and show perfect entry points, wouldn't everyone be a millionaire in this market? So why do 97% lose? Because you need unique indicators, the ones I just showed you. Based on my experience, it has never been wrong. I've already proven that to you on the chart. That's just on one specific coin. There are hundreds and thousands of coins like that you can find. It works flawlessly everywhere. You can get it by following the link in the description. So, how does this indicator work? It's all as simple as can be. It highlights the most painful points on the chart, the biggest pain possible in the market. If we open the weekly Bitcoin chart, you'll see that every single time, the very bottom of each cycle since 2014 has been right at the green zone for Bitcoin. Or, let's switch over to Ethereum. With Ethereum, it's exactly the same story. Every time, the bottom, though starting from 2018, has been right at the green zone. We've just looked at examples where you could have made 500, 1,000, or even 5,000% returns. Those are absolutely incredible numbers, honestly. But this is the crypto market. It's possible here because it highlights the most painful trigger points on the chart. That's where the vast majority start selling and can't withstand the pressure. The blow from this market, the tension experienced by people who are in a drawdown, it's precisely based on this that the green zone always works for us. We've looked at all of this together with real examples. Let's take a look at a few more altcoins. SUI, for example, 500 to 700,000%, or even just 70%. So far, but even so, those are incredible numbers, all within 30 to 40 days, 70% in dollars. Just think about that for a second. The same token, TON, which we haven't looked at together yet. The most precise bottom was at the green zone, and after that, the price never went lower. So, based on that, you need to get in and take it. Those same 500 to 700,000%. Every time, TON, not a single mistake, just the same on the daily chart. The green zone is something unique and absolutely incredible. It shows the very best entry points, the most triggering ones, moments when the market is filled with maximum fear, apathy, and hatred. Major banks, as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, and hedge funds enter precisely at these levels. So why not enter along with them? Our indicator, the green zone, is much better than trend zones because our indicator, the green zone, is far superior to previous AI-based indicators that we've looked at together. Not because the others are bad, but because the others are standard, while our indicator is unique. It's an author's development with no analogs on the market. No one will ever make money where everything is obvious. For most people, somewhere. Where is this available to the public? How can you make money? Well, if it were that easy, everyone would be making money, right? They just take these indicators and become millionaires in this market. You need to use something original, something that always shows the best entry points, never makes mistakes, and, essentially, something that most market participants don't have. I'll leave a link to the indicator in the description of this video. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a like. It really helps the channel and motivates me to keep making videos. More content coming your way. This was Alex with you. See you soon on the ViceFlow channel.